righty, let's get going today, and we are welcoming a new guest today, and I will introduce our beautiful new guest in a moment. So welcome to Channel 2 Consciousness, everybody. My name is PJ, and this is our beautiful series of moments of truth with beautiful people that we'd like to speak to and get other people's points of view. So you guys listen to me and George and everything that we are doing within our provision of truth and looking at living a life of truth and moving into the best version of yourself with peace, purpose, and prosperity. And as I promised you, I'm starting some interview series, and it's basically getting, less than 30 minutes interview time, and let's getting some into some real truths and information for you as well. So today it's very, very exciting for me to introduce to you Muriel Braun from Astrolife. And I have, I don't know how I ended up finding Muriel on Facebook, but it popped up on my feed, and it's all about the guidance of astrology. And I have been amazed at how much Muriel's information has been saying the same type of thing as what we have been saying through Channel, through George, and the information there being truthful but positive. So I reached out to Muriel and to see whether or not she'd like to come and have a chat to us. And as promised, I've got her here. And so I'd like to introduce a beautiful welcome to Muriel. Thank you for coming on our Channel 2 Consciousness.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
It's lovely to see you here. So as a background, you'll hear from the accent Muriel is French, and I'll ask you a little bit about your background, and living on the Gold Coast, and has a business called Astrolife, and is very busy with not just astrology side, but I love the fact that you're passionate about the finance side and people being resilient about finance. So first of all, I'd just like to ask you, how did you get into astrology? How did you get into this world of universal knowledge, Muriel?
So it is a funny answer, which I'm going to say. I was born with it. I started to do astrology when I was 5 years old. I was already doing it, and I was already studying my parents. So the other day when I moved, you know, those little cards where we used to write things with different colors. I did find some cards where I was already studying my parents. I could hardly write, like a little girl's writing. And I also suddenly very, very quickly realized that just Western astrology was not enough. So I started to add different supports like Chinese astrology, numerology. And I've combined all that with 7 supports. I'm psychic as well. So, and I was psychic as well since I was a baby. I knew that my grandfather was dying. Straight up, my mother knew that something had happened, the way I was reacted, because I was really close. So I was already connected with spirits and knowing things. They discovered that. I was born in Strasbourg, yes, in France. And I was really lucky to actually have parents allowing me to do that, because I was raised in a Catholic village where astrology was not so well seen. So I was actually extremely lucky that at home I was able to do all that. So they bought me all the atlases I needed and telescope and let me do all my things or the books that I was asking for. But yes, they never spoke about it, you know. So it was a funny upbringing, but I was lucky to have those parents. I'm pretty sure I chose them well because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when so you moved out to Australia at some point. When did you feel like you woke up? When did you start to realize the truths of the planet that we're starting to see now?
So again, pretty quickly, because I actually don't even think that I come from here. So I'm not sure how people are going to understand that, but I do astro travel, and I actually meet in the future people that I'm going to be working with or things like that, with who I actually have conversations with. And then suddenly in real life, I meet them. And what is great is that they actually recognize me, because people who astro travel recognize each other. So, well, sometimes anyway. And so I don't believe that I actually come from here, because I actually get out even of the atmosphere, which funny enough, when you come back, because here it's very limited, we've got a tunnel vision, and also you have the atmosphere. So you actually have to kind of shrink to be in your body, because when you are outside of that, you are in expansion and you have a 360 vision. So it's very different. than when you are on Earth. I mean, the feelings and everything is different, and pretty similar when you go onto the other side as well. So obviously, I believe in parallel places and frequencies. But yeah, so I think I've always been awake. It was more kind of fitting in, even though I've always done very logical and practical and always looked after people with astrology since I was little, and political and presidents. I still do. Many people that I look after, big mentors, or people that are well known, or things like that. But I think it was more being with the right people, I mean, or being accepted, because all those people, as we say, millionaires don't use astrology, but the billionaires do, So those people have always had, Nostradamus or people behind the scenes helping them out to make big decisions of law or treaties or be elected and stuff like that. But the common people, that took a while. I mean, it took years to be able to be more popular, if I can say so, because of the church, and because of the fact it was always there before, but the church tried to diminish its power to make sure they would have more power, even though it existed even in the church, because when you see the old porches, they used to be the stars and all that, but they tried to get rid of that because it was giving too much power to the people.
Yeah, and it's like a tool, isn't it? So when you've got your highest connection and your highest consciousness, all of these things are just these beautiful tools to anchor in. Because in the pillar code, we've been gifted this beautiful universal information that has come through in a brand new modality for the world. And one of the ways that it's been really simplified is come through a coding system, how to decode your past and recode your future. And I see that as this beautiful tool, and it's just this ability to help people really anchor down that connection. And it's like astrology. When I listen to you, it's really anchoring down. But when people have their highest intuition, they may know some of this, but your messages can really tell them when and where and what. And that's how I feel very similar for what we do in the pillar code. But you're doing it on an astrological sense. We can do it on like an individual sense. So it's amazing to see that. And one of the things that that we speak about a lot, and the George, the universal connection that I channel, has been preparing people for over 8 years about the truth that's being revealed around the planet, and that people are either waking up or trying to wake up, or the ones who haven't woken up are really being stuck in that third dimensional space. So can you just say, what's your take on this? What's your take on how we're faring with this, moving from this 3-dimensional through to the 5th?
Yes, well, it was time. I mean, the people were ready, and it was really time to do so. It's just that, exactly right. I mean, energetically speaking, they needed to be ready as well. And because we also have been put down so much, trying to be limited. I mean, they've tried to limit us, I mean, by the fluorine in the water, I mean, everything like that, shutting the third eye and all that. So, the people had the power before. They've always had the power. It's just that, again, to be able to be controlled, the reptilians or Cabal or whatever name we want to give them, who have always been there. I mean, that was the snake with Adam and Eve. They always wanted to limit us. So that's why it was so hard for human race to finally wake up. But what is great is that with the Aquarius years, so it has started already a while ago, in the 60s and all that, people started to see more and more. And what we are going to get now, especially with Jupiter shifting now in Aquarius on the 19th or 20th here in Australia, is that we cannot stop it anymore. I mean, it's like, are aware. And that is what is freaking them out, if we can say so. Obviously, they knew exactly what they were doing by doing it this year. That we believe that there's an agenda or not doesn't matter. This global situation, we cannot ignore it. Obviously, there's something happening that is huge, that it is done by some people, or that it is what it is in a universal way. the waking up was not being able to be stopped, and won't be able to be stopped, because we are going in the 5D. There's no doubt about that, and even higher. We are going to be shifting, and that is going to go crescendo in the next years coming up. But that's also what they are scared about as well, and that's why there's so much control coming up as well, to make sure we don't get to that level, because in that case, obviously, it's going to be very hard to control people and do, whatever they want to be doing, So, well, they've done it for so long. I mean, each time we've had some aspects like that, it has always been used, because we've had some similar aspects before, obviously, in the last 6,000 and more. But each time they've used it, that it was the Babylonians, that it was the Babylonian times, that it was the wars, the Saint Wars and everything, or even last time there was one of the last time there was the birth certificates and holding us and having us screened, or knowing who we are and taking each time some liberty off, So, and that's why it's so important what's coming up. But yes, so there's no way we can stop that. The people are going to wake up. Now, what are they going to do with it? That is the big question.
Question. We've been delivering information that 2020 has been about the year of the individual, and we speak about the pillar side or the contrast, the shadow side. And so it's been about the individual waking up or the individual being suppressed, depending if you're looking at the light side or the contrast side. But the channel information is saying that 2021 is going to go away from the individual to an organizational state, that it will be organizations waking up or organizations coming together in this beautiful light consciousness. But the shadow side will be organizations shutting down, organizations making mandates over our bodies, over our lives, over our journeys. Does that make sense with what you're finding logically?
Absolutely. It's all about, exactly right. It is splitting into parts. You've got the part that is going to go with the 5D and the people and the organization, and not having the people having that power, which was the planets that were aligned in Capricorn, almost like a tower of control going up and up and up. And it's not finished with this year. But trying to, exactly right, squeeze us more, have more control, force us to take that vaccine, to do this, to do that. But that tower is the people are going to want to, because obviously they're waking up and seeing everything that is not making sense, if I can say so. And that tower, they're going to really want to start taking it down by the time all those planets actually are going to be shifting in Aquarius. So from leaving Capricorn, which is really about, and I've got nothing against Capricorn, it's just that aspects that I'm talking about, but that is really kind of trying to control and go up, up, up in that tower, which is very significant in a few people looking and organizing the whole world, because it does belong. I mean, there's the 13 families and that handful of people that are actually, pulling the strings. But the people are going to say, well, no, that's enough. And they are going to want to shift. And as you were saying, when you were talking about organizations, that really makes sense, because in fact, we are not going to give the power to just one party or the other party and just one man. It's going to be over. People are not going to trust the systems anymore, which is what I said last year when I said the world as we know it, or the systems that we know, are all going to crumble down. And that are going to affect, and is already affecting, the banks, the education, school at home, the banks, people wanting now to have the bitcoins or different things done differently and making the real money, and not having the bank making the money, because they do the same operations, except that some you're going to get 10%, and the others you're only getting 1 or 2. The medical system, not trusting the medical, because before, doctors were like the gods as well. I mean, teachers and the church realizing, and that was really started with all the pedophiles and being aware that, those people that we trusted, we couldn't trust them anymore. So all those institutions are actually going to crumble down and being more supervised by the people. So having more groups of people and being more, more aware of what is the truth or not, because that's where we are going to go. So it's going to take a few years to get there, to have everything well organized. And there's going to be this battle being saying, we want the truth, and the people saying, no, we're still holding you, and exactly right. As you said, there's going to be a split because they are going to try to still control as many as they can. I'm starting to call that a little bit the sacrificed generations, because the ones that are not awake, by taking that vaccine, which is handmade, the virus, which there's even some HIV in there and things like that are not very good, right? So it's kind of like a sacrifice generations, and all the others that are awake are going to have the capacity to rebuild that world, which this time we have to make sure that it is fair, that we are not controlled, that we are not abused, that things have been done this time much better for the next generations and ourselves.
Yeah. Are you completely convinced or sure that everything will go through into that light side? I get a lot of questions about, people saying, because, I'm channeled through what the light side looks like, the pillar side, but I'm also channeled through what the shadow side looks like. And every bit of message is always saying it doesn't matter. They converge and the light side wins out, always. But there are still people, a lot of fear. Where are you with all of that?
Well, I just want to just make the responsibility of each and every one of us is really important. And this time, and that was also what was happening, actually. We had to face what was a real purpose, who we were. A lot of people lost their jobs, they lost their businesses because they probably weren't doing their right purpose, which is most of the time, obviously, technology is going to have a big boom. So it's going to be working online, doing your purpose, looking after each other with a different gifts. So, everyone would be recognized for what they can offer to that new world. But exactly right, it is us, the people, that need to make it, because we still have to recognize something. You were asking me that, and just something that I did announce straight up when all that was happening and the corona came out. I was like, yes, well, people were saying, the poor Chinese and everything, but it couldn't be the poor China, because China had some aspects in Capricorn and also some aspects in Aquarius. So we also don't want to become like China, where you got all the people and, but the people that are also controlled. So we have to make sure in Aquarius, and obviously it won't be like in the 60s, when there was hair and the hippies and stuff like that as well either. But it's kind of similar. I mean, the aspects that we are going to have in Aquarius are kind of similar to that, where we don't want to be controlled. We want that freedom, but we have to understand that we have to make it happen, because they will try. There are some uncomfortable aspects next year. There's a couple of aspects that are not going to make us comfortable. So there is this fight. So me, I see that fight until Pluto shifts in 25. 26, so 4 years where we are going to have to make sure that we are making it happen. So that obviously brings us back to our responsibility. We are the creator. We cannot just say, oh yeah, they are deciding. No, we are the ones voting for them to decide. So any voice is extremely important. Standing up and doing and creating what we believe. But definitely, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and making it much, much fairer for the people and much smoother. But I do see a bit of time where it's going to be rocking the boat, because they're not going to like it. They don't already like it. You can see it. And so we will have to stand up. There is a split, a very strong one, and we have to go the right way.
Yep, they're absolute, and that's exactly what's been channeled through all these years. There is a big split, and it's a choice. People have a choice, but the other thing is there's action around it. People can't sit on their lounge and expect everyone else to do it for them. It just is not going to work. And so, we keep saying through the pillar code, it's know where you are in that journey, but know your truth, transition it, which means action it so you can sit in your peace. Because if you're knowing the truth, but you're not actioning anything, you're not going to be at peace when all these things come up. And it's really important to actually, have that action and know what's going on. Can you tell me, just, we're nearly going to wrap this up. 21st of December, we keep hearing lots about the 21st of December and this change, what we're going to do and how we're going to meditate on it. And can you just explain a little bit about what is it and why is it so important?
Sure. So obviously, as I was saying before, they knew, the people that control us knew that it was coming. So each time they've been using those aspects, it's all the planets, lining up, and they've been coming quite a few times, as I said, the Babylon. It's a reset. It's really what we can call a reset, and it's really going to go into world. I mean, it's going to be on one side or the other side. So we actually need to celebrate it, and the intentions on that day are extremely important, because it takes a while to have all those planets, and there's going to be Mercury in Capricorn, Saturn, the Sun, obviously, Pluto, and that. We've got some massive aspects on that day as well, Moon, sextile Pluto, and all that. So it's going to be, what it means, it's that day, and you can see it, even if you didn't go onto all those planets being aspected every 20 years, when you've got those two planets meeting with Jupiter and Saturn, it's always a reset for society. So at that point, and Jupiter will just have shifted the day before here in Australia into Aquarius, which we are in the era of Aquarius. So it's very, very important to be crystal clear. I'm organizing something on the Gold Coast for the people, to gather together. It's all about the people. It's understanding that we are all important into that world, that we all have a function. I will even go a step further, that we came here on a contract. There's no mistakes. If we are here, you and all the people looking at us today, if we are all here, that's because we decided to be here, and also because we've got a very important role, and that we need to understand that. And exactly right, at that point we need to be completely aware, completely awake, making the shift, obviously, cleaning yourself up from everything that does not longer serve you, because it would be really the time to clean up all that side that you are aware that has been done wrong, and there's quite a big list there, unfortunately. And at that time, it's going to be all about putting also the intentions of what you want to create and where you want to be going, because it's really that day, it's really the real shift, in fact. So at that time, it's really saying, okay, right, and if people can gather together, if they can exchange ideas, if they can do some things together, that it is online or not online, it doesn't really matter. Physically is great if you can, or otherwise online, but exchanging ideas and supporting each other and making sure that you are crystal clear onto the future that you want to create, that's what I would do. And also knowing that you are here for each other, and if some people have knowledge about the laws, well, sharing it with others, starting together some communities, because as you said, there will be groups of communities, and you will have to find your people and the people that you get on well with, that you want to share ideas and support, because obviously we are still going to be fighting the reptilians and the cabals and all that. So we need to be strong. We need to know that we can trust each other, that we can help each other. I think that's probably really where I will go towards too, is really knowing that we have to this time understand how important it is that we can trust each other and help each other. That's where the strength is going to be coming from.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see the light side of the groupings come together.
Yes,
we know where the shadow side of the organisations are, because if they're being revealed, but we're going to see a growth of light organisations, and we're moving into also working with organisations, CEOs, and getting those light leaders through our program. And yeah, it's pretty exciting seeing the potential. People just got to step out of the fear, away from the fear, know the truth, action everything. So you're researching, you're learning, don't listen to anybody, but research everything. And then that's going to give you ownership to take this back, and take that, step back into your peace, but own it. And then, the fear is the real pandemic. Fear is the real pandemic in the world at the moment. And we've got to do everything that we can. And if you research, you're taking control, there's less fear. And if you're learning, you're taking control, and there's less fear. And if you're actioning, you're taking pride in what you're doing, and there's
exactly.
And then it's about getting together in your own communities and your organizations and businesses. There are really good business leaders out there choosing to take their organization into that next level, and that 5-dimensional level, even if they don't even know what that words mean. They actually choosing to lift their organization into a healthier state. And so it's about, you know, people like us to support them in that way. And I love the fact that you're like me, you know, you're not just this sort of, you know, spiritual person. You're actually very common sense with the analytical and the finances, and how important it is to be diverse and hold your finances and have different streams of income. And that's what we say to people all the time. Make sure you're doing whatever you can to be in your stability financially, to be stable, you know, get rid of your debts, stop dramatic spending, diverse your portfolio, get your income out. You know, I'm expanding into different areas, and the more resilient you are, the less you've got to fear as well, and the less you'll be controlled by decisions that they are coming down the track. They literally are coming down the track, and
Absolutely.
it's, you know, where you're actually standing in your grounding. Because if you're reliant on government money, you're going to have to, you know, you're going to be closer to the decision making than people who aren't. And so it's about doing whatever you can to build yourself, build your business, build your healing group, build your meditation, you know, build whatever you're doing, and you know, step into that purpose, because it's I actually think it's pretty exciting time. It's a pretty exciting time to be alive.
Epic times, I would say epic times. The other day there was someone saying that at the summit paradigm, and I thought it was perfect. We live in epic times, and we can absolutely make it happen. And absolutely right, we do have the stars on our side to make it happen, between Pluto and all that shifting in Aquarius. So it's all about using that. You know, I would be really skeptical if we were going against the tide, you know, like, you know, when we are in Mercury retrograde or things like that. But no, this time we actually have the stars going towards Aquarius, going towards the people, and, you know, any kind of work that is done energetically and everything like that. And, you know, astrology and all that, people are really going to understand, and even the medicine and being able to rebuild, you know, limbs and all those kind of things. It's going to go so fast as far as technology is going to be concerned, and we are going to evolve, but this time we can make it happen into the right way, and in a fairness for people, which for the moment has never been done. I mean, for the moment you didn't even have a chance. You know, you will be born, you will already be already, you know, controlled and being taught things that were wrong from school. You know, I mean, so many things, I mean, about the you know, the 9/11 and all those kind of things, you know, that are so wrong, and yeah, being formatted. But this time we finally have the possibility to be able to create a good world for us and the future generations. So we are very lucky, but now we just have to make it happen in this way.
To ride the wave, and the information that is channeled through, there is no other way than the light consciousness winning, because it's already won in its time. There's no time and space. It's already won. It's already there. It's already happened. We just have to hold the faith, guys, and really ride the wave and hold the faith. This has been fun. I think if we could do it next year, maybe we catch up again and do some more. Muriel, if you could gift the world one word, what would it be? If you could gift the world one word?
Well, it's going to be hard to, but in sync, if that can be one word, to be in sync, just to make things flow, relationships, timing. You were talking about money, doing things at the right time, being in flow, and that we can do by using the stars, you know, and you know, not going against the tide, as I say, but that would really help a lot of people, because I see a lot of people struggling or asking why, you know, even things like, you know, their parents didn't like them and all the scars, you know, that can be left. But once you understood that you weren't compatible with that person, and it was not their fault or not your fault, it was just that you belonged to two different tribes, then suddenly you don't have all those, you know, luggages that you are carrying, you know, otherwise. So all those things. So I would say to be in sync, yes, to be with the flow and using those flows to do things at the right timing. That would probably make people so much easier, because I see so many people struggling, and that's probably what I would love the world to be more. That's my wish.
Beautiful. In sync, guys. Okay, it's going with the flow of light consciousness, not against it. In sync. I love it. Thank you so much for your time. It's been really wonderful to have a chat, and it's wonderful to compare notes, because, you know, I see you on your lives, and And you know, and we've got our beautiful audience and connections as well. But it's about now bringing in community. It is all about collaboration, not competition. And the more we can collaborate, the more we're actually going to help with this beautiful way forward. So it's been so lovely having a chat to you, Muriel. So thank you for that. I'm going to be putting all of Muriel's information, link, Facebook and everything down below. Muriel also does an elite class where she takes her elites through this beautiful program supporting people through their businesses. So if you want to contact Muriel about that, but I'd highly recommend getting on Muriel's Facebook page as well, or any of her groups, and we'll put all the information down below. So thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Bye.